Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cynthia. On my channel I talk about nothing. I talk about lifestyle, I talk about hair, and a bit of vlogging. So I do virtually anything that is really interesting to me. Okay, so today's video is about what has been going on for the past 2-3 weeks. So obviously since the death of George Floyd, many things has been happening across the world, everywhere, especially on the western world, and this has been something that affects all of us here because we left our various countries to work in the western world. So it's really something that concerns us deeply. It's been a very emotional week for us, for every black person all over the world, because of the injustice, because of the racism, because of the how the blacks are being treated actually. So I just felt like turning on my camera to talk about this because I have been listening to people, I have been watching the news, I've been seeing a lot of stuff on the internet, social media, everything actually. So I felt it's good for me to turn on my camera and contribute my part of it and just talk about it all, just give my own opinion. First of all, if you've not seen the video of how a man called George Floyd was killed in America, I think it's best and better for you to see that video first of all and think about it. So it's a very emotional video. If you don't have that heart, if you're not that very strong person, I wouldn't advise you to say it, okay? Because someone was being knelt upon, actually the neck, I don't know, but I know that the carotid artery is somewhere on the neck, and he's been like, a policeman was literally kneeling on his neck and he was gasping for breath and he was like, I can't breathe. And this man still had the mind to be on his neck and he finally died. This is a father of one, and I can tell you it's heartbreaking. So I would just like to ask a question. What do you think that bred racism? What contributed to racism? What is the main thing that happened for racism to start being a thing in the world? If you know the answer, please don't forget to drop it in the comment section, okay? So for me, the only thing that bred racism is slavery. Yes, so slavery is something that doesn't exist now, but it can exist in different other forms. But the main slavery that happened way back doesn't really exist now, when people were being sold, black people basically, we are being sold to the white farmers and mines and everything to go and work for them. So this, I just think slavery is the thing, is the cause of racism, because when you sell a fellow human being to other people in the purpose of making money from them, generating money from them, and then subjecting them to work, to farm, to do different stuff to make money for you, it is the main thing that made racism a thing in the world. It is the main cause of racism, because you can't tell me that you sold someone from Africa to America. Probably, for example, you sold someone from Africa to America and this person has been working for you, and maybe you've got children, and you think your children would look at this person as a human being. No, definitely your children wouldn't look at them as a human being, because you sold them and you're treating them, you're killing some of them, you're beating them, you're subjecting them to hot temperatures to work for you and do lots of stuff for you, and eventually some of them die from it. You don't expect your children to look at them like a human being. They just look at them like literally animals, or wild animals to be precise, and then they grow up that way, and then they have their own children, they have their own grandchildren, they have their own great-grandchildren. So this keeps passing on from generation to generation. So that's why there is racism. That's why racism is a thing. If not for slavery, if not for the fact that some people chose to sell human beings for the purpose of money and for the purpose of selfishness, racism wouldn't be a thing in this world, to be honest. Okay, so, and to even think of when, because I don't really know much, I haven't read a lot about slavery, but from the little I've read, from the little I know, history says that even when these people are being sold from Africa to the western world to be slaves, that many of them die in the sea. On the process of going to America to farm and stuff like that, you have about 20,000 people who are human beings dying in the sea. To be honest, it's heartbreaking. I can't even think of it. I can't even think that this happened in the world. Those people that died in the sea are someone's grandfathers, that's someone's great grandfather, that's some, even there might be a president. One of them could actually be a president. One of them would have maybe by now been one of the top people that we know, but there are no more. Because of what? Because of slavery. Because they were dead somewhere. This is not even about the people that died on the sea. Let's think about those ones that actually made it to America, to the Western world, to farm or to do the hard jobs they were subjected to do. Some of them die in the site of work. Some of them die from bullying. Some of them die from being maltreated. Okay, and all this happened, and it was a thing then. Back then, it was happening like freely. People do it. Now, when it comes to the death of George Floyd, it has already made an impact in the world. The death is something that everyone will always remember a time like this. Okay, I don't know how. I've never been to America. I've never been to the USA, but I've seen lots of videos, lots of complaints from people, lots of maltreatment and stuff like that from people who live in America. And the death of George Floyd shows it's just one fraction of everything that has been happening over in America, because assuming he didn't die, nobody would have known about it. It would have been something that we don't even talk about. It's so frustrating to know that this is happening, and it keeps happening. It's been happening since ages, and no one is talking about them. Okay, because we are blacks. So I just think that it has to stop. Racism has to stop in any form, in any shape, in any institution where racism is being seen. It has to stop. So protesters have been trying to pull down statues of everyone that participated in slave trade in the olden days, and in the UK many statues have been pulled down. In the US as well, it's been happening.
Britain lurched around a corner, confronting the worst of its colonial racist past Sunday, as protesters at a Black Lives Matter march in the port city of Bristol toppled a statue of 17th century slave trader.
So people have been having different suggestions and different opinion about it. Some people are like, protesters shouldn't pull down the statues, while other people are like, no, we have to pull it down. Okay, so it's been something that's bringing about rage everywhere now. So it's really worrying. Even everywhere, it's been happening in almost all the cities in the UK, Bristol, in London, in Oxford. People have been protesting to bring down the statues of the slave traders. Okay, so now for me, I think these statues should be brought down and put in the museum. Museum is a place where you put pictures or you put anything to really talk about it. You write about them, what they did and everything. So museum is basically where we learn stuff. Okay, so if these pictures are put in the museum, saved there, and things are written about them, it is not a bad idea than to have those statues on the road. Okay, so I was just watching the news, and someone was like, I was just watching the news, and someone was really saying something that made a lot of sense. She said it doesn't make sense for her to see statues of the people who sold their forefathers, their great grandfathers and everything to slave masters. It doesn't make sense to see those statues every day of our lives. It doesn't really make sense. We go to work, we see those statues on the road every day, every time, every minute of the day. And the serious part of it is that we are blacks. We can't change our color, to be honest. We are blacks all the day, all the time, till we die. So why putting those statues there for us to see them, and having in mind that these people did lots of bad things to us back in the days, really knowing that they sold our people, they killed our people in the process of selling them. Many of them died in the sea, in the ocean and everything. Many of them died out of hunger. And you expect us to see these statues every day of our life. It's tormenting, it's really depressing, and it's upsetting to see them, to be honest. Now, in the UK, is there racism? Yes, definitely there is racism in the UK. You might not experience it personally to know, but there is racism all around the UK. Okay, to be honest, like, I don't like it when people pretend that there is no racism, because there is. Okay, I saw there's something that just happened I think 2 days ago in the UK about some of the white people telling the black ones who are protesting to go back to Africa.
Why don't you go back to Africa then? Shut your mouth, you piece of come on then!
So tell me, what do you think about that video? Is that racism or not? They were literally told to their faces to go back to Africa, to go back to where they come from. That's pure racism. It doesn't have to be painted, to be honest. It's racism. You can't tell them to go back to Africa and just because they were protesting, whereas you protest on the road and no one talks to you just because you're white. You can't tell people to do stuff that you wouldn't like to do just because they're blacks. It's really heartbreaking, to be honest, because I have a daughter and she's still gonna grow up. She's not even up to 1 year old, and I just feel for her. I don't know what the future might hold when it comes to racism. I don't want her to experience these stuff. I don't just want her to see things being done this way, especially when I live and I work in the Western world, and it's a very big issue here. Some children, they go to school and they feel rejected. They feel no one is talking to them. The teachers, some of them make jokes about them. Okay, I don't want my daughter to see these stuff. That's why I'm using this medium to talk about it. Racism has to stop. In the healthcare system in UK, there is racism. In all the institutions here, there is racism everywhere. The racism might not come directly to you. It might not come like directly to you. Like, someone might not point fingers at you and say that go back to Africa or you are black and stuff like that. No, it comes in different ways. Sometimes a white person might do something and a black person do the same exact thing that the white person did, and nothing, read my lips, nothing will be done when a white person does that. But if a black person attempts to do that same thing that a white person did, the case will be something else. Okay, so that's racism. You don't have to point black, tell people, oh, you are black, for you to be known as a racist. Even things you talk about people, even how you refer to people, some of them refer to blacks as, oh, that woman. Okay, that particular act is already sending a bad signal to whoever you're discussing with. If you discuss about people, if you talk about people in a particular way, just because they're blacks, the person you are talking to about these blacks is already going to see blacks as a mere object, as it just depends on how you talk about people. So if you refer to us as animals, if you refer to blacks as inanimate objects or as serious beings, it's just going to go that way. The person you're talking to will see us as that, and then it continues going that way, if you know what I mean. So we just have to stop racism. We just have to stop it. We are all human beings. We have the same air, we breathe the same air, we have the same environment, we have everything is the same, just that we've got like more melanin. Okay, so racism shouldn't be a thing in the world of today. How do we stop racism? I think the only way to stop racism is by education. We really have to educate ourselves. We really have to educate our children. We really have to talk about racism. Tell our children that this shouldn't be done. Racism is not a thing. We are all the same. We have the same everything. We are all in the same world. If the world is ending today, everyone is ending. If the world is crashing, we are all dying. No one is going to be left. We all have the same red blood cells. We all have the same veins and arteries and everything. So teach your children, because that way they're still going to have their own children, and the education will keep going through like generations after generations. So that way racism is just going to fade away from history. Okay, not history, it's just going to fade away. slightly, okay? Because history remains. History is always there. Nothing is changing the history. So just tell me in the comment section on how you think is the best way to stop racism, and don't forget to tell me if you feel the status of the slave masters should still be on the streets, or if you feel they should be in the museum. Okay, so that's basically the topic for today. And while you're out there, just take care of yourself as a black person. Don't feel intimidated in any form. Don't feel bad because you're black, because black is beautiful. Okay, so thank you for watching. Thank you for seeing this video. If you've not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please make sure you do subscribe, and make sure you turn on your notifications so you get to know when I post more videos.